Today is like any other day. You go to the mailbox, you check the mail. As you're going through all of the spam, the bills, and everything else that you normally get, you see a letter from the IRS. Your heart immediately skips a beat. Today, we're going to talk about 3 mistakes to avoid when you get that dreaded letter from the IRS. Hi, I'm Holland King. I'm a tax attorney that helps small businesses and individuals with their IRS problems. Whether it's an ongoing audit or past due taxes, I'm here to help. So you got a letter from the IRS. This can be one of the most dreadful letters to receive. Almost everybody who receives one gets a sense of dread immediately. Here's a secret. I do too. And I deal with the IRS every day. However, a letter from the IRS is not necessarily bad news. It could be that they're sending you money. It could also mean that they're just making a small correction to your return. And this is just notifying you of the changes. Or it may be even that you called the IRS. And this is the letter telling you that you called the IRS. However, for any correspondence from the IRS, you should definitely avoid these 3 mistakes. So let's talk about the first mistake. You cannot ignore the letter. No matter what it is, you should open it, you should read it, and you should figure out a path to deal with it. Some letters may not need any action on your behalf. If it's a letter saying that they need more time because you sent them an amended return or you sent them some information, you don't need to do anything. If you called the IRS and let them know or ask them a question, they're going to send you correspondence letting you know that somebody talked to the IRS on your behalf, in this case, you. If you hired an attorney or you have a CPA who's doing it, then they're the ones who probably had the conversation. However, other letters need to be responded to. If the IRS found an inconsistency between what's reported on your W-2 and what you reported on your return, they're going to make a change, and they're going to send you a letter explaining that change. You have an opportunity to respond if you do not agree with those changes. If you do not respond, then the IRS is going to finalize those changes and you're going to be stuck with the difference. Also, if the IRS is auditing you, they're going to be looking for information to substantiate numbers on the return. If you claim that you had a dependent in the tax year, such as your 6-year-old child, then they're going to want to see information that says, 1, the child exists, 2, the child is living with you, and 3, that you are supporting that child. This information is probably readily available, but if you do not provide it to the IRS, they are going to act as if the numbers on the return are not valid and change your return not in your favor. So, it is very important that you do not ignore this letter. If it's a letter about past due taxes, these taxes are likely not going to go away before the IRS gets their due. Yes, there is a statute of limitations around how long the IRS has to collect for taxes, but that doesn't mean that the IRS is going to necessarily sit around waiting for the 10 years before the debt expires. They can put a lien on your property, they can levy your bank accounts. So you need to respond to those letters that are initiating the collection actions. Let's move on to the second point. You've received the letter. You've figured out that you can't ignore it. You've even read it, but you don't necessarily know what it means. This is the second mistake to avoid. Make sure that you understand the letter. Make sure you understand the consequences of the letter. If the IRS is changing your tax return, understand whether it's in your favor or not. It might be in your favor. It probably isn't. So make sure that you understand why the IRS is changing it and how that is going to impact you. If the IRS is saying that you owe more money, then make sure you understand the penalties and interest and how much you're going to have to pay in total, because it won't just be the amount of the change. If the IRS is auditing you, then make sure you understand what they are looking for, what information you need to provide, and how soon you need to provide it. Almost any letter from the IRS that is requesting information or making changes is going to give you a time period by which you have to respond. It could be 30 days, it could be 60 days, it could be 90 days, but there is going to be a deadline. Also, that deadline is going to be from the date of the letter, not the date that you received it. Right now, there are large delays with the United States Postal Service. So, the date of the letter might be several weeks before the date that you received it. Make sure that you know by what time you have to respond. Make sure you understand how you need to respond, and make sure you understand where you need to respond. If you have read through the letter and you don't understand it, then ask somebody. there is a number on the letter for you to call to ask questions directly to the IRS. This can be a great source of information if you can get through. Right now, the IRS is answering about 8% of the phone calls that they receive. The other 92% are getting told that due to unusually high call volume, they are not able to take your call right now and hang up on you. If you can get through, calling the IRS is a good option if you need to understand the letter. If you aren't able to get through or you don't want to talk to the IRS, then talk to your tax professional. Either your tax preparer, a CPA, or a tax attorney. We're here to help, and many of these tax professionals will give you a free initial consultation and help you understand your situation. So reach out to one and make sure that you're prepared to answer the letter for the due date. This ties directly into the first 2 points. Make sure you respond timely. Again, the IRS letter is going to have a date by which you must respond. If you cannot respond by that date, then call them and get an extension. Write them and request an extension. Fax in something requesting an extension. Don't just ignore the letter. Don't just ignore the due date. Make sure that you either have an extension or you have a response in the mail by that due date. Even if you agree with the changes that are being made, respond to them saying that you agree and that you're going to pay by X date, or agree and that you're waiting on the refund. If you're under audit and an agent is assigned to your case, talk to the agent. Get the necessary extension so that you can either get help from a tax professional or a tax lawyer, or that you can collect the necessary documentation. Many IRS agents will work with you and understand that information is not necessarily at your fingertips and you will need time to respond. The details of how to respond to an audit are beyond the scope of this video, but I will be talking about it in a future video. But for now, do yourself a favor and make sure that the information you submit to an auditor is organized and details the numbers that are on your return. It will take you a long way to getting a successful result on the audit if you can show that the numbers on the return are accurate based off of the documentation and lead the auditor to the information that you want. That's it for today. Those are the 3 mistakes to avoid when you receive a letter from the IRS. If you avoid those 3 mistakes, then you will be set up for success in dealing with the IRS and be well ahead of the curve. If you found this video helpful, hit the like button and consider subscribing to my channel. I'll be producing more content like this and other information related to taxes in the IRS. Until then, have a good day.